So, first of all, thank you all so much for coming. I'm so happy to see you all, as you can tell. And I'm really looking forward to the next hour and hope you are too. I want to give you the most value that we can do. So, let me tell you a little bit about how it's going to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I know a lot of you already know me, but I'm just going to talk about how I hit the wall and what I learned from that. Actually, I've done it more than once, but let's not go there. I'm going to talk about Helena, who's actually called Pam in the slides, but I forgot to change the name there. And that is a composite of the women that I've been working with over the last 18 months. And I'm going to introduce you to a framework. And this is what I look for in every conversation that I have with people. So you'll get to see that. And then you're going to get to see our wonderful guest who is going to have live coaching on here and is very brave. And I'm really excited for that. So thank you, Rachel. So that's the reveal. It's Rachel. And also I want you to listen to this for yourself, and whatever comes up for you, that can be your next move. And rather than, I mean, take notes for sure, ask questions when it's time to ask questions for sure. But instead of, I want you to get present, and I want you to let the conversation flow through you, but also just notice what sparks in you, because that spark could be your next move. Some of you may know my previous life. I was a six-figure senior IT consultant. I had everything. I had lots of stuff, and I also had imposter syndrome every single day, every single day. Um, I managed a lot of technical people who were brilliant. And whenever I was doing a team meeting, I would think, why would they even listen to me? Why am I here? And I really struggled with that, and thought I wasn't on their level. And in many ways, I wasn't. But I came to see later on that I always feel like that. That actually, whenever I show up to something new, whenever I take the next leap, I suddenly feel like that again. And that's a little bit of what we'll cover here today as to why that is, because we know it's not real, but it's really hard to get out of that, isn't it, when you're in it? Am I good enough? Have I got enough qualifications? Who am I to be charging big figures, etc., etc.? All those little demons that we have in our head. So to cope, I had a drink every night, and I didn't think that was a problem until I saw it was a problem. I wasn't actually attached to the work. In fact, I hated the work, but I loved the salary and I loved the status. I loved being called head of operations and customer service. I thought it meant something about me to have a title like that. And also, I had worked really hard to get there. I hadn't had a great start. I put myself through university as a mature student, and I'd worked my way up from some really horrible jobs to this level where I thought, well, this is it. This is me now, and I'm going to have to like suck it up, basically. And to let go of that felt like I'd be letting go of everything that I've done before. Anyone can resonate with that? Let me know. Yeah. And then I was made redundant, and the whole company closed down. And so I thought, well, I can't lose this salary. I'll lose all my stuff, all that stuff that I thought made me who I was. And I kept applying for similar roles. And honestly, I just fell asleep when I was reading the job descriptions. And I thought, I can do the job, but I just don't want to. What's happened? And then something amazing happened. I lost my mortgage. I lost my house. I had 2 houses and I lost them. There was a housing crash at the time and there was a load of other stuff going on. And even though it sounds like the worst thing, so I lost my houses, I lost my car, lost my job, even though it sounds like the absolute worst thing, it actually broke the illusion that I was living in. I was living this illusion that I was living my best life and I just had to put up with the pain that I felt inside. And so once that had gone, I realized I can do anything. I can travel around the world. I can start a new business. I can literally do anything. And as it says on here, anyone who's old enough to know Blue Peter, don't do this at home, kids. So, like, I'm not recommending that route, but it's the route that happened for me. And it's proof that you can start from anywhere. You can start from any age, from any circumstances, from any financial states, from any qualification state. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. But let me try and show that to you. So I've said here, freedom is available without having to lose everything. What I really see in myself, and I've started over a few times, I haven't, not as dramatic as that, I have to say, but still where I've gone, when I did the prison work, for instance, I've gone, okay, this is ended. What else do I do? And I was caught in that same trap. This is me, I'm the prison lady, and so on. What I've really seen in myself and in the people that I've worked with over many, many years is a reset is always possible. Again, no matter where you're at. And one of the things I talk a lot about is finding your passion and working from that. And I don't mean that in a fluffy way. I mean that in a really pragmatic way, not, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. What they really mean by that is when you do what you love, you figure out how to make that work. If you don't do what you love, that's when you end up with the imposter syndrome and the burnout and all the other things that come, because that's when we sort of don't love the job, feel bad, and just feel trapped, feel stuck. So I can't remember where we are. So, oh yes. So you're not Pam, but you might know her. So most of the women I work with aren't in that terrible crisis that I was in, but they are in a slower version of that. They're doing the stuff that they don't want to do and they're keeping going. And for women in particular, and I don't know about men because I'm not a man, but for women in particular, we do so much for so many people and we get lost. We get lost in providing, in being this, being mothers, being wives, being friends, doing social value. We get totally lost in that. And we get to a point where we can't remember what we really want. I can remember for myself thinking, I don't know what I want for my birthday when people would ask me. And women I've worked with this year have said, I've said, well, what would you love to do? I don't know what I'm passionate about, because we just get lost. And in a way, it's a worse situation because nothing's dramatic happening. So you're sort of not pushed to do something about it. The income's coming in, the bills are getting paid, it's sort of the status quo is working, but actually, you need a little bit of a push. So let's hope tonight is a little bit of a push. So here's Pam, who is a composite of the women that I've coached over the last 3 years. She's an ex-marketing director, 22 years in the job, worked her way up, wins awards, does like amazing. She was made redundant and took the package and thought, I want to coach women like the people I've managed. You know, I want to help other women in that corporate world climb the ladder and be successful without having to lose themselves. So she's living on her redundancy. She's had a couple of paid clients, but the pricing's too low. She knows it, but doesn't know what to do about it. And so she's frozen because now she wants a third client, but also she knows that what she's charging isn't going to actually be worthy of her time. So she keeps getting locked. So she's self-medicating in some way, having the wine in the evening and telling herself that she's deserved it. And she might be on LinkedIn where she's opening, anyone done this? Open it up, intending to post, scroll, maybe some likes, and then think, oh no, I don't know what to say, and then come off again. And so she thinks, I just need to get a few systems in place. I just need this. I just need an email list or a website or a niche or, stuff. Wear your business hat, coach hat for a minute and drop one of the letters in the chat. What do you think Pam needs? Does she need to charge more because she's underpricing? Does she need to niche tighter? That's a B, because she's too broad. She's just working with anyone who'll come along. Is it C? She needs to post more regularly on LinkedIn. She's got a visibility problem. Or is it D? And she hasn't got any accountability. So she knows what to do, but she's not doing it. And no one's telling her that she needs to get on with it. Or E, if you think it's something else. Over to you. All of the above, Mary. Yeah, very good. E from Caroline and a D. All of the above. D, yes. A, B, C, D, E. Louise, all, yeah. Yes, Lindsay. Yes, Cat, A and D. Brilliant. Brilliant. You're all brilliant. Who knew? All four are plausible. So absolutely right. All of those four could be the problem. And Pam's been tweaking those four. It's not like we don't know, is it? It's not like we don't know, oh, I need visibility, I need a niche, I need to price more. We know that. And if we know that and we could do it, we would do it, right? It's not that we don't know and it's not that we can't. So if it was on the surface, Pam would have done it already by now, because it's actually underneath. What we're seeing here is Pam self-medicated, she's having a glass of wine in the evening, or two. She's trying to tweak all of those things. But in actual fact, what's happening is she's hiding because she's scared. Now, I don't know. I can't say now every woman will be different. And I can't say now what that particular scaredness is. But someone who comes to mind who was in that situation and actually came to sort out the wine problem. We don't work on the wine problem because the wine is a solution. The wine is helping her to stop thinking, basically, to relax. So we work on what's the fear, what's underneath all of that, what's beyond what we can see in front. Okay, have a little reflect now. Oh no, sorry, jumping ahead. So polished. Okay, so here's the framework that I was going to introduce to you. Isn't this exciting? So the framework that I look for in every conversation goes like this. And I didn't do all of this and then start working with people. This came through working with people, through hundreds of hours of coaching and facilitating and helping and then looking beyond, like, what are we actually doing here? So you don't need a framework, or you don't need a polished slide deck like mine. You just need to know where you're at right now and what the next step is. So I'm looking for, what's the pattern? What's the loop the person in front of me is stuck in? So for Pam, she was tweaking the website, fiddling on LinkedIn, rewriting her bio, taking another course. Anyone done that? Yeah, me too. Taking another course, and anyone here who knows anything about the understanding that I teach, getting more grounding. You know, that's what we do, more grounding. Anything that looks like progress without it actually being progress. Innocently, I want to say, innocently, because that's what everyone's saying. When you look online, if you go to networking events, if you join lots of communities, they'll say, this is what you need, this is what you need, this is what you need. And honestly, that's never been any different. So we look for the pattern, and we look at what the loop is that she's stuck in without her really realizing that. And then, and obviously this is behind the scenes, I don't say, oh, look, what's the pattern here? And then we look at what's the illusion that she's living in. Like I was living in the illusion that this is the job that I have to do, this is what I'm trained in, it's what I've done all my life, and I just have to hate myself. And that's, you know, well, that's the story that we're telling ourselves. And Pam's illusion is she needs to get a few systems in place, because the systems will make it work, right? But the systems aren't the problem. The truth is that she's afraid of being seen. She's afraid that the people she used to work with will judge her. She's afraid that she won't get it right. That she's gone from this, you know, very professional woman who knows what she's doing, and then all of a sudden she's online being messy, and she's in this messy start, and other things. I think I might need to step up the timing. And then the third part of the framework is move or action. The small action, the one small action she keeps almost taking, but then not taking. So that might look like message the 3 women who've been following her that she sees, like all her posts, and not perfectly, not when the bio is written or the website's done, but today, and have those conversations. Okay, it's time for a real conversation. Whoop, whoop. So we're going to move into, I'm going to unshare this now, and I'm going to pin myself and Rachel. Are you ready, Rachel?
I am.
Wonderful. So this is lovely, Rachel. I reached out to a number of women and invited them to be the person tonight that we talk to, that we coach, and then I offered some questions to those women, and there were lots of really good candidates. So thank you to everyone. If you're here, thank you so much. But Rachel was the one who got chosen because I was so intrigued by your story, Rachel. So I really, really appreciate you being here.
Thank
And so we'll move into this phase now. So I just need to take a moment, and you take a moment as well. Let's just breathe. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you. And if at any point I ask you something you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. This is your gig. So you're in charge. Do whatever you need for your safety and your sanity. If you need to pause, we pause. If you want to say no, you say no. Okay?
Okay.
If you need a sip of water or a breathe out, anything like that. Not that it's going to be hard, but do you know what I mean? I just want you to know that you're in charge. And perhaps tell us, maybe some of your answers to the questions, or just where you're at right now and what you might like to get from this, our time together.
Yeah, the questions were a while ago, and I can't remember what the questions were or what my answers were. But they'll be the same now as they were then, I'm sure. Um, so I started the business that I'm in the form that it's in now about 6 years ago. Um, took a break from it about a year ago because I thought AI had taken over my job, basically. Um, Came back to it when I realized that I could actually use AI to enhance my job. Um, and I've kind of I've kind of ground to a halt in as much as I know what I want to offer. I've I've got everything on a website and everything in my school community as I want it, and so on and so on. Um, but something's stopping me, a bit like Pam, something's stopping me from going any further than changing the font on the website or changing the second word of the third paragraph in my book, or I'm busy being busy doing busy things, but nothing actually is moving me forward to getting clients
Mm,
that I want.
mm,
That makes sense.
mm.
So yeah, very similar to your story of Pam. I'm luckily I haven't hit the wine yet.
Okay, well, there's an option. Not really. So, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing and for being honest about that and being vulnerable, because it can be tough to do that in front of a crowd. So I appreciate it. So if you if you did know what to do,
Mm.
what would it be?
So this is the thing. I know what to do. I just can't seem to get round to doing it.
Okay.
Um, so very much like your A to D four options earlier. I know I need to post on LinkedIn because that's where my clients or my potential clients hang out. Um, I know I need to finish the book that I'm writing at the moment. That sort of that is in progress, and I'm going to hit deadline, but I feel sometimes that I'm using that as a procrastination from doing things that will actually get the clients in now. I know I need to be more visible. Um, and I've spoken to a dozen people probably in the last month to say, I want to join your course. And I haven't joined anything. I've stepped back at the last minute and said, no, hang on a minute, what am I doing? I'm in 6 courses already. Stop it. So I know what I should be doing. I should be stopping the procrastination um, by trying to find new things and new ways and new systems, and actually getting out there and getting visible and posting more, um, and stuff like that.
Mm. And have you worked with clients? Like, have you had
Oh yeah,
paying clients before?
yes, yeah.
Okay. And do you want to have paying clients?
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes, please.
And so if you think about Pam and you, that is a very similar
Mm,
a similar avatar, if you like, isn't it? So
yeah.
so what insight do you get from listening to that and recognizing that and realizing and what I said about um actually all four of those things are plausible, but they're not the real thing. What insight do
Mm,
you get from that?
mm. So I think perhaps because I'm thinking, well, I know what to do. I know I need to just be motivated and more accountable to myself, and post more and be more visible and so on. I'm probably missing something. I have a feeling in the back of my head that I am missing something, that not will magically take me there and into the world I want to be in, but there's something niggling me that I'm saying something's stopping me from
Mm.
doing all the things that it's a bit like going on a diet, isn't it? You know what foods are healthy, you know what foods aren't, but it doesn't stop you eating all the donuts.
That's right. Have you been watching me or something? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that you know there's something at the back of your mind that says something's missing here.
Mm,
And I would invite you to consider that all the things that you're not doing is because you know it's not that. It can
mm.
look like that and you can get busy doing those things, but it's not that. So what tell me when you're in your best, most flowing state.
Um, if I'm guesting on a podcast or speaking on a networking, when I'm talking to other people and they are genuinely interested in what I do, um, I could talk the hind leg of a donkey about what I do, and I get really lit up and passionate about it. So that's when I'm in my real flow, is when I'm actually um, talking to people or coaching people um, on what I do. Yeah.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful. And when are you most stuck?
Um, when I'm trying to find the right way to get myself out there to post and to find the right words, and not necessarily the right words, but the right way of doing it without being spammy or salesy or anything like that, to try and sort of get myself some exposure um on, say, LinkedIn, for example, without having to DM people, because I don't like the whole direct message sales. Um, so yeah, it's finding a way to get people into my world without having to
Yeah,
actually sell to them.
yeah. We'll come back to that. Um, but before that, I want you to just reflect for a moment of those two different states. The state that you talked about when you're in flow and you're happy, you could talk a hind leg off a donkey, and then that stuck state where you could see that you went down a rabbit hole there and you were trying to get the answer
Mm.
from there. Can you feel the difference between those two states?
Mm, yeah,
What
yeah.
what you
It's the joy of wanting to do what I do, but the pain of getting somebody to actually do it for, rather. Um,
Mhm.
I really, really want to have clients so that I can do the work that I do and that I love doing, and enjoy making the impact that I make. But it's it's finding them and finding a way to get them into my world. I think what keeps me stuck is, as I said, I don't want to sell them anything. I just want them to magically appear and buy my course and come and join me.
Ooh. Let's just wave a wand.
Yeah,
Well,
please.
I'd like to challenge that a little bit, if that's
Mhm.
all right.
Of course.
I think it's something else that's keeping you stuck. And so I would like to see if we can explore that a little bit.
Hmm.
In the joy state, where you're in the flow and everything else, do you find decisions easy? What to do next easy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have to think about it too much if somebody says, "Oh, join this thing or do this thing," or "I'd like to be in your world"? Do you just figure out on the in the moment how to
Yeah,
answer?
I'm quite spontaneous. I can make decisions very easily, and perhaps a bit too spontaneous sometimes, but in some areas of my life. But with work, definitely, I'm a decision maker.
Nice, right. So that actually challenges that you can't do the next thing, doesn't it? Because you are a
Yeah.
decision maker.
Mm.
Yeah. So if I put this to you, um, it seems to me that the illusion is the fact that you need to do this, this, and this, and you're just not getting on with it. And
Mhm.
I guess you throw in a bit of self-judgment and a bit of blaming yourself and a bit of beating up to go along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
really helpful. Really helpful. um, I would say that, or I'd invite you to consider if you were in the joyful state when you were thinking about these things, do you think it would be easier?
Yes. I can only tend to get in that joyful state when somebody's interested in what I'm talking about and I've got someone to actually
Mm-hmm.
tell. I find it here's an example that might sound ridiculous, but I know a lot of people have the same fear. I find it very difficult to talk to a camera rather than a person, to
Mm-hmm.
actually sort of just talk on screen rather than actually talking one to one. I'm not finding it difficult talking to you, for example, but if you weren't there and you just asked me to record a 10-minute video for this, it would take me days. I find that really
It,
hard.
yeah, I get it. It's a real thing. That's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So to get in my flow and to be in my joyful state, I seem to need someone to bounce off of.
okay. Is that true?
Um, no, no, it's not always true because when I'm at home on my own, I'm quite happy dancing in the kitchen and talking to the dog. Um, and I can be joyful on my own. When I'm writing, I can be joyful and I'm talking to the page. So in that sense, no, I can be in my joyful state and I can be in my flow when there's nobody else here. Yeah. Um, I just have to feel that there's somebody on the other end that's going to hear my message.
Ah, that's interesting.
Mm, yeah, I didn't know I was going to say that.
That's the point.
Just came out.
Um, yeah, yeah. Isn't that interesting though? We can
Mm,
access we can access that joyful state. Now, I'm not saying pretend there's someone there and, nothing like that, but all I'm pointing to, literally all I'm pointing, there's no hidden agenda here. I haven't got the answer and I'm just waiting for you to find it out. You actually have the answer. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find where that answer is for you. And that will be different for you as it is for Pam, as it is for me, right? But I find it really interesting that you can see that actually joy, your joyful state, can be in many, many places. And then there's this other state, which is where you're trying to do your business from.
mm, mm. Yeah, I think the opposite state to the joy state, whatever we're calling that, the sad state, comes when perhaps drawing on what I said just now, it comes when I don't feel that I'm going to be heard. Like if I post on LinkedIn, my experience has been in the past, I post on socials, I get crickets.
Mhm.
And so it stops me posting because I think, well, I'm going to post my heart out on LinkedIn, um, 5 days a week or whatever the plan is. Um, and nobody's going to hear me, nobody's going to see it, nobody's going to listen, nobody's going to care.
Yeah. And can you see what you said there? So I'm going to say back to you in a slightly different way. So what you said back was, the reason why I struggle with LinkedIn is because nobody's going to listen to me. That's my experience. And so guess what? When you're posting on LinkedIn, you're not in a joyful state and you already know it's not going to work. So that's why you're not doing it. It's like
Yeah.
it sounds horrible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so when you're writing, you say when you talk to someone on the page, you can feel that joy. And
Hmm.
how do you know then that someone's going to listen to that?
Because I've written books before and people have read them and loved them and listened to them. So I've got experience. I've got a different story in my head when it comes to people picking up my books and reading them than I have when it comes to people picking up my social media posts and reading them. Completely opposite story in my head.
Yes, you've got a different story in your head. And that's
Mm,
where the joy or the sad, as you called it, come from. They come from the story. They don't come from reality, what we see out there, what we're doing or not doing. They come from the story in the head.
mm. Yeah.
Does anything occur to you about that that's helpful?
Um, yeah, I think having used words like I want to be heard and I'm sad when I'm not heard or I don't feel that I'm being heard takes me right back. And I don't want to do the whole like oh it's all about my childhood and it's trauma and all that sort of thing because it's not, I don't feel like I had a traumatic childhood or anything like that, but I never felt heard. And I think it was something that I longed for as I grew up was to be heard. So we could go there. um,
Well, we haven't got time to go there, but
No,
yes,
it's
you're
not.
right. There's a link there, isn't there? I want
Mm,
to be heard, and you're realizing, oh, that's a story in a way that I was
mm,
never heard, and now when I'm not heard, I have to feel offended by it.
right.
And what else? What else were you comes to you?
Um, it is quite ridiculous that I can write in one format joyously and then write something similar in a different format not joyously. That feels a little bit ridiculous saying it out loud.
That's beautiful.
Same page. It's the
Yeah,
same pen.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I know that that came from somewhere deeper because I get a feeling and I
Mm,
get tears in my eyes when you said that. Yeah, that's an insight. It's
mm,
not ridiculous, but it is just like it's silly, let's say. Ridiculous seems a bit harsh. But yeah, there's something there for you to see that.
mm. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If I can talk to somebody joyously about my work and I can write about it joyously in my books, um, I should be able to write about it joyously on a social media post, really, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
Just need to bring the
yeah.
joy back to social media.
Just bring the joy back to social media. Yeah, yeah. And seeing that it's about the story, um, and the sort of in that black and white, like actually, yeah, why can I write there and not then? That's to do with the story. Do you think that is helpful?
Yes. Yeah. I've done a lot of NLP work before, and I think I help other people. I help my own clients to reframe their negatives into positives, but it's a lot easier to help other people do it than it is to do it for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I need to put myself in a position in my mind as if I was a client or as if I was a friend, and try and reframe some of my negative stories.
amazing, amazing. And what do you think might happen if you did that?
Well, then I might be successful, and that's terrifying.
And that's when we do part two.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Wow, Rachel, we're actually done for
Mm.
now. Is that good enough for you for now?
Yeah, thank you for those insights. Some stuff came out of my mouth there, and I don't know where it came from.
That's
Lots of things to
wonderful.
think about. Thank you.
Wonderful. So over to you while I take a moment to have a sip of tea. Um, what did you see in Rachel that you can see in yourself? Was there anything that popped up for you that was helpful or anything that lands? Type it in the chats if you can. And because not just for my benefit and Rachel's benefit here, but because actually saying it like you saw with Rachel can move something sometimes. You realize, yeah, the state of mind I get in around my business, that I need to bounce from someone to speak passionately about my work. Yeah, I'm sensitive to rejection and felt some parallels with the same things I love to hate doing in my business. Realizing that I'm passionate and joyful, but there are places where I've believed I cannot show up. Brilliant. See, state of mind is so key. The same experience being experienced differently. Joy writing, but not writing on LinkedIn. Same thing, but feels different. Wow. Fear of not being valued, appreciated, or judged. Like, see how human it is. It's amazing. Holding it back, holding back it the next most important step out of fear. Thank you, Jeff. Nice to see you here. Different stories for different scenarios. Yeah, feeling in a higher state of mind. I can see the meaning making that the mind makes about business being separate to how I show up in my life. My mind has been doing this too. And yes, that was great. Too much thinking about my thinking and believing it to be true. The fear of showing up. Oh, look at this, Rachel. You've helped everybody. Amazing. Love how that she saw how terrifying being successful would be. The fear of showing up or not feels so real. I forget what's possible. Belong the illusion, new thoughts. Even the story is a story. And blind spot about coming from joy with business marketing. Look at that. How many people did you help there? That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for participating. Okay, so yes. So we have 3 women, 3 returns. So other women not unsimilar to Rachel and myself and Pam here. Anastasia, who's here with us live, thank you for coming. It literally couldn't work for a while, and then when she came, she just had lost all confidence, I would say was the case. Now she knows her own value, she can name it, she's earning 3k a month, she turns down work that isn't paid well enough. It's absolutely amazing. Another lady that I've worked with, she was a VIP client. We did a 6-month immersion where we worked very closely together practically every day. She was 15 years in the same contract and self-medicating because she felt completely stuck, but she's a global trainer. She was well known around the world, so she knew she couldn't get into another role, so she was looking for something to feel passionate about, but she was also self-medicating and feeling that other areas of her life weren't working. And then by the end of our time together, she had designed her own role with the same contract, a role that she absolutely loves doing now, and doubled her income from 3k to 6k a month. And then Jennifer, who's also with us, who is dedicated to serving others and just wasn't sure how to create an income. A lot of fear and a lot of doubt. And then she presented her first 5k proposal and then wrote to me and said they didn't even flinch at the price. So yeah, that's just more people that I've worked with and had the honor of working with over the last 12 months or so. So There are two paths. There's only one CTA, but there are two paths. And neither is better or worse. They're just for different moments of wherever you're at. And the first one is DIY, do it yourself. So you can, and it's valid, you can have resources. You know, I've got a book out at the moment that helps people with this exact same thing. You can look on YouTube's. There's a free program in my community, and there's probably lots of other free programs in other people's community. So that is a valid path if that's what you need to do. And just find, I would say, just find the right things for you when you do that, and find an accountability buddy. Find someone else in your world that you can bounce ideas off and work together and keep each other going, because it is really hard to do it on your own. I've tried that for a long time. I tried that, and now I just wouldn't even try. So I always work with coaches, and even publishing my new book, you know, working with a whole guild on that. The other path is that you can book a mini activator session with me. I've got a QR code. I am so proud of myself with the QR code, where you can book book in a session with me, and there are 7 spots available. So I'm going to talk through what that looks like now, and leave this on the screen for a moment. It will be very similar. So I have a 2-phase process. It'll be very similar, this activation session, as what we've done with Rachel. It will be literally about you to get you unstuck, find out what's underneath, and get you moving to the next place. It could be that I also suggest a resource or some other form of help, but it will start you moving for sure. And then if at the end of that call there is a fit for working with me, either in my group program or on a one-to-one VIP, I only take one of those on at a time, then I'll invite you to another call. And so there's no sales pitch on this call. It will just simply be, if there's a fit, then I'll invite you to another call. And then the other call will be a slightly longer call where we'll map out a 90-day blueprint for you. And I'll tell you about my offer and see if that's something that would appeal to you. So what I would say is that one of my coaches calls it multiplayer mode. So instead of doing it on your own, like, games are always better in multiplayer mode. So, you know, come and join me and be in multiplayer together. And worst case, we'll have some fun. No, you'll figure out something and you'll go on your way. So nothing to lose. I'm supposed to be able to tell who's booked in, but it's all too much. So I'm just going to trust that some people have booked in. You can put your thumbs up if you have, or just DM me if you'd like. And I really look forward to seeing you on those calls. So I think we are near the end, which is not bad. Oh yeah, one last thing to share with you. We're going to have a little space for Q&A in a minute. But before you leave, it's truly my heart to tell you that you are the only one that can do the thing, whatever the thing is for you. You are part of one source. We all have access to that source. We can have whatever we want. And like we saw with the conversation with Rachel, there's a joyful state and there's a less joyful state. And whichever state we're working from, we get to see how much access we have to resources. But not only that, there's only one you, with your resources, experience, expertise, education, stuff, life experience. There's only one you, and there's only one way that you will bring something to the world in a completely uniquely different way to anybody else. So I'll give you a quick example, which is that I just want to say thank you to Ben. I've been working with Ben now for several weeks and developing this as my signature work masterclass, which I'm so proud of because I think it's beautiful. So I hope all you do too. And just yesterday, I got sent someone in my field who's done something very similar. First of all, I was really disappointed because I thought I did that thing, get off my thing. And I tormented myself by watching that person. And what I came away with when I watched that, I had loads of insecurities, loads of doubts, loads of why are you doing this? You're not good enough. Loads, honestly. But at the end of the session, what I came away with was he does him and I'll do me. And there's only one me. There isn't anyone else that does it the way I do it. And some people will go to that coach and some people will come to me and some people will go to Anastasia. And we're all amazing at doing the thing that we love. So wanted to leave you with that. And the last slide says, thank you for coming. And thank you to Rachel. And I'd love to know if you've got any questions at all. I'll stay for questions. Anyone who needs to go can. And what your biggest takeaway was. It'd be really helpful. Thank you, Lindsay. Jacqueline's School is a brilliant place for DIY. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. A round of applause. Yay. So hit me with, you can come on camera if you want to, you don't have to type it in the chat. But her personal support is kick-ass. Thank you. Yes, I was sort of going to say something there, but I thought, no, well done, Lindsay. Better if you say it. Thank you, Wendy. Watching me is the biggest takeaway, drawing it out. Thank you from Sharon. Like the structure of this program, helpful for me to see. Thank you, Paula. Thanks, Ben. Thanks so much. I love that we really are unique. Yeah. Thank you. Feels weird. Anybody want to speak?
Hello, thank you, Rachel, for doing this for us. I think my biggest takeaway is seeing a deeper level of insecurity that maybe I haven't noticed before. And with your example, I was able to see it. And for me was the idea of, so even if I'm present on social media and I can do it intuitively and kind of well, but I felt when you said that you need to bounce back of people to in order to talk about the work you do and the impact you have, it's so lighted up in me. It's like, oh, I feel the same without even me even being aware of it before. So there is something to see for me deeper, and I want to thank MamaJ for everything. And to say that working with someone that you trust and who've been on the same journey that you're traveling right now, it's really what gives you the power to go forward. And maybe, as you, MamaJ, said to Rachel, that it's not that you have the answer, but you help people find the answer inside themselves. And it's very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you. That was